let's talk about something that I know nothing about, but, you can't dismiss the popularity, the resurgence of the Pokemon cards. Now, I know this is a sports card show. I know we mainly talk about sports, but we'd be remiss to not talk about this explosion of Pokemon and the first edition. We have Jake Paul. If you don't know who he is, he's got 16 million followers on Instagram. So he's got a lot of followers. He's a YouTube sensation, and he is on there talking about Charizard.
Professional boxer too.
Yeah, you're trying to fight your boy Antonio Brown.
Well, I don't know who that is.
Yeah. And so, you could see a recent tweet of Logan Paul.
Yeah, I was like, didn't you say Jack Paul?
I probably said his name wrong. I'm sorry.
Jake Paul's his brother.
Jake, yeah, Logan Paul, Jake Paul.
I think he said Jack though.
No, I think he said Jake Paul.
No, I think he said Jack Paul. Which is funny because it's like their second cousin.
Yeah.
Chris Paul is collecting Pokemon cards now. Logan Paul, nostalgia plus business equals the new art. Just bought an estate's worth of Pokemon's cards. Most fun investment I've ever made. Shout out to Gary V for pushing me. So, here we go again. Gary V changing the market. But, what this relates to is that the guys in we're getting close to 40, right? Me and Dan. C-Rad's still 25.
Speak for yourself, dude. I'm 23.
But we were more like Pogs instead of Pokemon. But I think Pokemon is the early 30s, late 20s kind of guys. It's coming back around. They're seeing people doing trading cards. They're like, well, what about Pokemon cards? 1999, I was about to graduate high school, so there's other things on my mind. But guys that were in middle school and elementary school around that time, now they're old enough to be like, I can buy some of these cards. And I remember having fun doing this. So I am going to buy it and hold on to it for a lifetime. So that's what's going on. And these cards are going for insane amounts. You can see a first edition Charizard BGS 9 selling for $60,000. A Pokemon first edition Red Pikachu, $1,600. A 1999 Holo first edition Shadowless Pokemon, $3,500. And this is just, there's so much more of this going on. I mean, in the last 6 months, some of these cards have doubled and tripled in price.
Let's I'm gonna go to C-Rad real quick. I got a question. So 1999 Pokemon first edition. I'm assuming that was a mass-produced product.
Absolutely.
You can get as many as you want, right?
Yes.
Obviously, that $60,000 Charizard had to be what would they consider a rare. They don't say short prints in Pokemon, right? They like rare and commons, maybe.
Yeah, it was more on the rare side.
Yeah. Also, a BGS 9. Now, when kids were getting these cards, if I'm not mistaken, again, there's a game that's played with it, correct?
Correct.
So you're probably not top loading these cards, and you're not probably sleeving these cards as much, especially back in 1999 when the game first came out. It had to be more directed towards the gameplay than the collection. Right. Now I think you have collectors who are like, oh, I'm going to collect these and I'm going to hold on to them.
And what a lot of kids were doing back then, they weren't putting necessarily in sleeves a lot, but they were putting them in the binders.
Okay. But, I mean, don't you have to take them out to play the game?
Yeah,
or playing the game wasn't as popular?
Playing the game wasn't as popular. Actually, I'll say this. From what I've seen because this was very popular when I was in middle school. So we were all collecting the cards. Some of us were playing the actual card game, not many. People were actually just playing the game on Game Boy, but we were just collecting the cards on the side to trade. And because we know even back then we knew that for me it was coming from sports cards in the early 90s, right? For me it made sense, okay, this Charizard is harder to get, so that's why it's worth $40. Back then it was worth $40, right, for the foil version, first edition. So I understood that. So I don't know how other Pokemon collectors understood it, because maybe they might not necessarily have came from the sports card side, but a lot of people were obviously that were into the game went straight to the trading cards, and people were not playing it as much.
I think that's actually a pretty good connection to the video game to the cards, because you're basically playing the video game and you obviously can play different characters, or you see different characters, then you associate those characters with the cards and you're like, oh, this player, this character in the game's dope, I'm stoked I got that one. kind of similar to how we view sports cards with viewing sports. You basically find a player that you want a PC, and you're like, okay, I got this player. Now I'm going to watch all the games and check out his stats. The only difference is that you're basically playing the game and then associating those cards with the collection.
The thing that intrigues me is the fact that, even back, this is 2 decades ago, all right? Even back then, people were chasing the Charizard card as like a holy grail. That was the most expensive card. $40 to $100 was what it was going for back then, raw, back in 1999. But to me, it's like Charizard was a popular character in the show and somewhat in the video game. He wasn't necessarily the most powerful character in the video game. So I wonder where that lore came from.
Again,
it must have been from because I did watch the cartoon. It must have been from the cartoon. They maybe played up Charizard as this overwhelming, Pokemon that other trainers and Pokemons had to overcome.
And again, I don't really know much, but wasn't one of the most popular and polarizing characters in Pokemon Pikachu?
Definitely the most popular.
Definitely the most popular.
The most popular by far. Easily.
But I don't see a lot of value in Pikachu has to have cards, right?
Yeah.
Is there value in, because he was probably the most
I think Pikachu's value isn't.
What is Pikachu?
Pikachu, he's like a little rat, I think. Cute rat.
Well, there's actually less
mouse.
Pikachu.
He's a mouse.
he's a mouse rat.
There's less Pikachu graded. So I hopped onto the pop report, and hopefully I'm looking at the right thing. There is, when you're looking at Charizard and you look at first edition, and let me get back to where I was. There was only about 1,000 Charizard first editions graded, with only I think 100 tens or maybe less. Let me get back to where I was.
And the thing is, but that has to be recent, right?
Charizard Hollow. Charizard Hollow.
Was
there
120
PSA 10s, and there's only 2,500 total in the PSA Pop report.
I'll say this: I've known for at least since the mid 2000s to maybe the late 2000s, the earliest I can remember, people really collecting the graded Charizards
and grading them.
So
you wouldn't think of that.
This has been going on for over a decade now. Where it's actually been a collectible thing, and I've seen it. I've watched from afar. I've seen it grow. And Pokemon is one of the biggest franchises in the world now, off the strength of the just not the cartoons. The video games is huge, but yeah, the trading card has never really slowed down amongst kids.
You think that maybe its resurgence in the popularity has to do with the Pokemon Go app? Because a lot of the people who used to maybe play the card game or play the Game Boy game or play all the games and maybe watch the cartoons, now they're older adults, and this is how they get reintroduced, and maybe they can introduce their kids to Pokemon. So now you start seeing cards coming out again, and they're like, oh, I remember collecting cards, so I'm going to go ahead and do this with my kids, and we're going to go and play the Pokemon Go game, and it's going to be just a whole family thing.
I think it's a nostalgia aspect of it, and I think, just like sports cards, I think the pandemic has helped because you can't go to a football game in most places. You can't go out to a bar. You can't go to a concert. There's so many things you can't do anymore during this time that people are bored. So they're going back and they're looking at these things, and it's spreading because you see, look at breaks, look at cards. You got, hey, John, I just went to Target and I bought a Mosaic Blaster, and they sell for $200 now. What? Football cards? Oh, basketball? I'm going to look it up. Wow, look at this. LeBron James sold for $4 million. Wow, there's money in this. I'm going to get in this. This is fun. So, I mean, I think it's lack of things to do that's helping this, and with
helping the hobby in general.
Yeah, and the hobby being on social media compared to in 1999 when this game came out. It wasn't really as much on social media, so it's just spreading fast.
Let's be clear here that they never stopped making Pokemon cards.
No,
they never.
So that's also a thing. In '99,
and there's no autos to hold it back, so it's massively produced.
The first edition, 1999. I've had solicitations for the last 10 years if I want to buy Pokemon cards. It wasn't until the last couple months where we're like, yeah, we'll take some. I mean, where is the resurgence? We have to pinpoint it somewhere. If you think it's just the pandemic and people are trying to find things to do, then it's not going to have legs and longevity.
I think
as soon as we get back to normal, it's going to go right back into.
In my opinion, it's the growth of Pokemon has been a completely 100% organic, natural growth. In that I've seen it grow like I said, even in the late 2000s, I've seen people collecting Charizards for thousands of dollars because they're like, this is the card that's going to keep growing in value as it becomes more and more through the years, kind of like a Jordan or LeBron rookie, right? So
Charizard is the Jordan
absolutely
of Pokemon.
Anytime a set has a Charizard, that any set that comes out now, if it has a Charizard, especially like a full art foil type of Charizard, it's always going to be the most expensive card in the set.
LeBron.
Yeah.
Or Jordan.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, we're going to move on. The PSA versus BGS debate is coming up, so stay tuned for that. We do have some Pokemon available on the website for personals, or if you want us to ship it sealed, we can do that as well. There is a new form of Charizard that people are chasing in those boxes as well.